All right, now let's talk about loops and some more features of arrays. We'll start with the while loop. The while loop is sort of formatted like an if statement in that it has a parentheses here, and if the value is true, it runs the code inside the body here. Let's say hello. The difference is a while loop continually runs the code inside until whatever is inside the parentheses here becomes false. But in our case, what's in the parentheses is always going to be true. So it's going to continually say print hello, 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 ad infinitum. This is what we call an infinite loop. Now this may be useful, but what's more useful is controlling how many times the loop runs. Let's say I want to print hello out 10 times. Well, we could, using the old way, just continually write print hello 10 times. But there is a more efficient way, and that's using a loop. What we can do is create this variable called I, let's say. It can be called anything. And we're going to say while I is less than 10, print hello. Now, right now, this actually does the exact same thing as we did when we just wrote true here, because I is 0, and 0 being less than 10 is true. And we're not changing I, so this is always going to be true. It's going to continually print hello. The key, though, is adding this line, I equals I plus 10. What this does, I equals I plus 1. What this does, it takes I and it stores whatever I was, or currently is, and it adds 1. So it's going to continually add 1 to our value I. So the first time, well, I is equal to 0, and I being less than 0 is true, and it prints hello, but then it adds 1 to I. So now I is 1. It goes back to the top and checks, is I still less than 10? Well, I is 1 now, but 1 is still less than 10. So it keeps doing that. It prints hello, then it adds 1 to I again. Eventually, I is going to get to 9, and 9 is still less than 10, so it prints hello. But then it adds 1 to I, and I becomes 10. And 10 is no longer less than 10, so it stops printing hello. So we run this, we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 hellos. And we can modify this, right? If we want 100 hellos, we could just change that to 100, and now we have 100 hellos. Now, another type of loop in Python is the for loop. And the for loop helps us iterate through an object that is iterable. What is an iterable object? Well, an iterable object, for example, is a string. Anything that's iterable is really something that just has multiple elements. Like a string is just a list of, basically a list of characters. And each character is an element, and we can iterate through it. We can start with an H, then go to E, then L, L, and O. So what the for loop does, I can write for, I'll write element, and this can be any variable you want, element in X. I'm simply going to print element out. So what this does, this for loop, is it loops through all the iterable elements of our iterable object here. So element is first going to be equal to H, and it's going to run the code inside. Then element's going to be equal to E next, and it's going to run the code inside. Then element's going to be L next, it's going to run the code inside, and so on until it gets to the end. So if we run this, we can see that element is first H, so it prints out H, then it goes on to the next one, element is E, it prints out E, and so on, and we get this, H, E, L, L, O. Another iterable object is a list. Let's write a quick list of numbers here. If we run that, it goes through all the numbers. So element is first equal to 1, and it prints it out, then element is equal to 2, and it prints it out, and so on. What if we want to write all the numbers from 1 to 100, for instance? Well, I guess I could, write all the numbers from 1 to 100 in here, but that would take a long time. And there's a nice function that actually creates a list for you, or creates an iterable object with these numbers in it, and it's called range. And you write what you want the first number to be, and then you write what you want the last number to be 100. In fact, though, just like when we did indexing, this number, it's going to be exclusive, so it's not going to include 100. So this is going to be an iterable object, or a list that has numbers from 0 to 99. And if I iterate through it, I get 0 to 99. Right, if I want 100, to go up to 100, I have to write 101. Again, we go from 0 to 100, like that. Okay. You can also add a step. A step is how much you want to go up by, right? The automatic step is just 1. So it goes 0, 1, 2, 3. But I can add a step of 2. And what that's going to do is start at 0, then go up by 2s all the way to 101. So 0, 2, 4, 6, 8. And it's going to get all the way up to 100. Because 101 is past that step amount. So 0, 2, 4, 8, and it goes all the way up to 100. Like that. and you can loop through them. So that's one way of printing out all the even numbers, for instance, from 0 to 100.